Got a question from Paul. Paul, I hope it's okay that I use your name. Just remember, guys, if you guys ever send me emails, always just put on there, want to be left discreet. I won't share anything if it's a personal email. I think this is a pretty generic one, so I think we're okay to share this. So Paul asked, it sounds like Paul's a pretty cool cat too, by the way. It says, good evening, Dave. I'd like to hear your thoughts on being a new service technician. What would be the best tips to be the best service tech possible? A little background on me. I'm 26, good age. I have worked for a large shop in the Twin City area for 2.5 years. Now, guys, mind you, if you guys have comments, bring it in here. You know, as long as they're positive, they're more than welcome. Like I said, let's help this guy out. I've been installing residential doors and overlay doors, as well as full vision types, mainly Clopay, high lift and low headroom installs as well. I also did quite a bit of new construction and tear down and haul away, or haul. I switched to service a few weeks ago and feel like I'm floundering here a bit. Today, I just got off an emergency service call, and at the end of it, I could not, for the life of me, figure out the op. I ended up calling my boss about it, and I felt bad that I couldn't get it going for him, for the customer, sorry. It feels like the more I learn about this stuff, the more I find out that I don't know. Do you have any tips for a guy going through a transition like this? I'm currently on my own doing residential work and cross-training 2 men on commercial. So I'm consider. What does it say? I'm currently on my own. Okay, so Paul, here's the thing. Thank you for the question. This stuff always inspires me to actually make videos because I always knew there was going to be a transition time, and I think I'm hitting that period in my life now where I got age on me. See, the one of the problems I always knew in this business, this isn't really pertaining to Paul at the moment, but was that I knew being a young person, I was going to struggle with that in business because when you're young, you have no respect, right? The older people always think they know more than you, which is kind of a shame, right? Even though you're the hustler, the grinder, you're the one watching the videos, you're the one learning, getting educated, doing the training, you're always still frowned upon, right? And so when you try to hire older people, you typically, like I said, get looked down upon. So anyways, let's get you a little more straight here, can we? So with Paul, you know, I'm going to look at this from my perspective, right? I've had a lot of employees. And, you know, the one thing that I've learned over the years is that it's not so much, one thing that always helps me out as being an owner, a boss, a manager, a supervisor, a leader, an inspirationer. I mean, we wear many different hats, right? Is always positivity. That is really the truth of it. Positivity gets you so far in life. Nobody wants to be around somebody that nags and complains. It's just, there's so much of that in the world already. The news, the media. One thing you might be able to do for your boss or anybody, I always mention this to everybody, is always, you might want to always send pictures or pre-warn them of something coming up. You know what I mean? But honestly, as long as you've got a good attitude, oh man, you're worth $1 million, in my opinion. I think the biggest thing nowadays in the world that we live in, if you can show up on time, you can dress halfway appropriate, not wear sweatpants and flip-flops when you show up, and also have a driver's license, and don't smell like alcohol or pot or marijuana or any kind of substance or drugs. That takes out about 50 to 75% of it right there. Just showing up every day, saying I'm willing to do what I got to do, and I'm learning. You know what I mean? And I'm trying. I got a guy that still works for me. It's kind of funny saying, I didn't think he was ever going to make it. But I tell you what, he has the heart of a soldier. I call him Captain, right? And he is the captain. He runs the business. But he's like Captain America, right? Remember when Captain America took that grenade and he covered himself with it, right? And he was going to sacrifice himself? That's the person you got to be. That's the person you got to be. Not the person that's stealing, Not the people that's, not the person that's lying, not the one that's doing backdoor deals, not the one that you're pilfering off of your boss. You got to be that guy that you're just trustworthy, that you show up and say, hey, I'm trying, and I won't do that again. So I would never be embarrassed that if you have to call your boss. I just know for myself, a lot of times I always tell everybody, I'm like, send me a picture. Because for whatever reason, when I see a picture, my brain goes, oh, I know exactly, right? It's almost like I can smell the grease on it, right? I can smell the oil, I can smell the chain. Oh yeah, I know that kind of opener. Oh yeah, I see that opener, I see this, I know what these common problems are. You know, I've dealt with them. So service is a different animal. There's no doubt about it. You got to be crafty. There was an old movie back in the day that was MacGyver, right? The guy that had the Swiss Army knife, right? And it's kind of like me now, right? I always carry a Leatherman. I cannot tell you how many times this Leatherman has helped me. And what is the biggest help is not having to climb up and down off a ladder. So it saves a lot of time. That's the big thing. And I just carry it on me all the time now. When I go hunting, when I do any kind of activities, I mean, if I go out to some real heavy family event stuff that I know is just going to be like eating cake, then I'll take it with me. But for the most part, and I even throw it most time, I'll throw it in a bag and I'll put it in the vehicle just so I have it, just in case of an emergency. So just being able to kind of look at your surroundings. You're not going to know everything. I still don't know everything. And a lot of you guys are actually getting to be more advanced than me because I don't go in the field as much. I still deal with some of the commercial, but I don't go out there like I used to with the residential. So anyways, Paul, I hope that's helpful. Don't ever be discouraged. I don't know, Paul, but I'm actually kind of proud of you. And I appreciate the question. I think as long as you have a good attitude, like I said, maybe send some pictures. That always helps out a lot when instead of us having to spend 10 minutes on the phone trying to, because everybody has different terminologies for stuff, right? It's like perimeter seal, right? Perimeter seal has the most, like, of them all: foam stop, vinyl stop, perimeter seal, vinyl seal, you know what I mean? But if we see a picture, we go, oh, I know exactly what's going on. So I don't think you really have nothing to worry about. It sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders, and you're gonna do just fine. Like I said, just try to do your best. New versus the service. Service is I always like service. It's challenging. The biggest thing too is also make sure you keep an eye on your truck or whatever you're using for tools. You got to keep that stuff stocked because there's all these things that can get thrown at capacitors. Certain tools you might not have chain brake. You might have to have a little bit of chain on there, some wires. New installs, it's normally you just grab everything and you go. So anyways, I hope that's helpful to you. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.